Why are you feeling lost? Why are you feeling like life just isn't what you planned or hoped for or dreamed about? It could be that you're just disconnected from a reverence for symbiosis with nature. It's so important. Schumann resonance, the electrons coming right through the earth. It's the most powerful antioxidant that we can possess. When you breathe in, you positively charge electrons as they're flowing through. It's all around us. The electricity is all around us. That's what they talk about, how as within and so without, and we get into all the romantic hermeticism and esoteric knowledge. You know, it's easy to get drawn into the romanticism of it. But it's important to stay grounded. How do you stay grounded? You stand on the ground. All of us were walking around with these rubber-soled shoes. And that connection that we used to have back when we were like running around foraging, you know that back then, they actually have theories that back in those days, we had a much greater connection and understanding of nature and the importance of staying connected with that same frequency that's been flowing through us. Like, we know about that now. We know that that's the frequency of the earth, the Schumann resonance, and it goes through us and all of that. But back then, they could feel that. It wasn't like a knowledge-based thing. It was a feeling thing. Right? How do you feel without connection? You can't. If you're disconnected with the earth, and then furthermore disconnected with all the people around you that can bring fulfillment and a sense of love for your surroundings and a love for your life in general, like, what could be more important than that? When I became a father, I started to understand how important connection is. So, why are we feeling lost? Again, because we're disconnected from the earth. We don't even think about it. We don't even feel about it. If you don't have any bearing, if you don't have an idea or a certain goal in your life to work towards, you don't have an overhead plan. Like, you could even be just, like, for me, for instance, for me, I live by a saying. Be ashamed to die without first scoring a victory for humanity. I healed myself with plant medicine. I used to be an addict. I used to be obese and a rageaholic. And I just was not a nice person. I was completely disconnected, especially with opiates clouding my brain, my judgment, my prefrontal cortex. Like, I was really lost. I'm so freaking psyched to be able to look back and see all of these errors and flaws that I made along the way and see them as a source of strength. I've overcome so much. It was only when I became connected back to nature itself that I actually came to any of these realizations. It's the connection to nature itself. The importance of growing your own food. You look at the most healthiest, the most happiest individuals on the planet. You look at the blue zones, you look at anywhere in the world where the people are the most happiest, the most fulfilled, the most connected with their surroundings. You'll find they're growing their own food. They're manufacturing everything that they eat. There's villages in Italy, there's villages all over the world where they're disconnected from the whole societal structure. But what does that matter? That's why we're all lost. Because we're all connected to that and not us. We're connected to social media, you know? And we think that by talking to each other on the phone and staying connected through cellular devices, that we're going to feel fulfilled or connected, or it doesn't work like that, man. It literally does not work like that. It is a part of us to find the food that God intended, and that is what we were meant to consume. And if you consume what God didn't intend, you descend into hell for yourselves. It's cellular dysfunction on that level. Every piece of food that you take into your body receives information from that food. It's like a code. Our DNA is a code. The food we take in unlocks pieces of our DNA that tell us what to do. All the natural functions that are automatic in our body, they're all automatic. Start adding, start taking away, and there's no balance. When plants are mining minerals from the earth, they completely balance them. The electrolyte, the sugars, all of that is completely balanced. As soon as you start putting pesticides, as soon as you start adding something to preserve it, you're unbalancing that, and you're depleting the nutrients, you're depleting the information your body receives. You look at processed foods, okay? This is a molecule, right? This is a molecule of your food you're eating. As soon as you process it, you're crushing it down. Those molecules are broken. Your body's receiving broken information. This is why people with raw food diets are freaking awesome. They're on a different level. Complete abundance of energy, complete cognitive function. Like, they're just completely vibrant. Whenever I have adopted a vegan diet or a strictly organic fruit diet, whenever I have, to be honest with you, it's actually when I have grown all of my own food that I have felt the best I have ever felt. When you're taking in all these foods, they're burning you up inside. I just took a cold shower. Before I had the shower, I was having a headache. Something that I consumed today, some of the things that I consumed, they weren't fully organic. I eventually, you can't do it all the time. Unless you're putting yourself in that, if you're lucky enough to put yourself in the position where you can grow all of your own food and still provide for your family and make everything work, you are a lucky individual. You are feeling fulfilled. And you want to share that with the world. You want to share that happiness with anyone you can. I'll guarantee that. Because I know I am there. Even still. In the face of all of the challenges that I face with my health. Okay? Like I said, I just got out of the shower. I had a splitting headache. Right? You got Wi-Fi bombarding your brain too. Like, that's EMF. Okay? Your cerebral spinal column, the jelly-like encapsulation that goes up and down your spine, it's very sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies. That's why they took Wi-Fi out of schools. It was affecting cognitive ability. It was affecting learning of the children. You go to Sweden, they got a chart. It's a tumor chart. Shows you which tumor relates to which cell phone company. Can't mention any names because I already did that. And you know what happened? The video was removed from my channel and also my phone. They literally took that video out of my phone. Removed, completely gone. They pay out millions. They make the family sign non-disclosure agreements. This ain't no joke, man. Convenience for health. That's the trade. If you don't take the time to grow it all yourself, or if you don't have lots and lots of money that you can buy all of your stuff organic. Like, I got 5 kids. You know how hard that is to do? You know how hard it is to provide an all organic diet for my children? My eldest is autistic. My 3rd youngest also autistic. I have my other child being tested for it right now. We're about to be tested for that right now. So these type of things is what jacked me up and got me on the path to wanting to figure out what is going on a cellular level. Why is all these things happening? I lost my mom, my dad, my grandma. I'm sure that anyone watching this has probably lost someone to cancer. Maybe a couple, maybe more than that. Maybe their whole family. Whole families get wiped out. And sometimes these whole generations, they get wiped out and they don't even know why. It's sad, man. It really is. It's all because of the disconnection with nature. God wanted us to grow all of our own food. That's what makes us happiest. That's what helps us connect with people. When you eat a meal with somebody, especially a meal that you provided for yourself or you prepared, and you sit down and you see that your family enjoys it and it's healthy at the same time, I don't think that there's another thing that is more fulfilling to me than that. To know that my family is sustained, to know that they're happy with what I've given them, and that I provided all of that. With the sun, with water, with space, with soil. Don't even get me started on soil microbiology. Holy crap. Our soil is so messed up, man. We need to get back to the Mayan way, man. Leonardite? Leonardite. Humic and fulvic acid. They used to infuse carbon with algae and sequester nutrients it's still there. There's still just 1,000 years. They say 1,000 years you sequester, because the carbon, the charcoal itself, as it's burned, it becomes an expansive hotel for microbes to move in. And when they move in, they just stay there. And they just keep reproducing and growing, and depending on the inherent nutrients that are already in the cell, and depending, they stay and they develop their own ecosystem, and the cycle just keeps going around and around and around, and it all happens in that tiny little space. It's a whole different world. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Compost tea. Wow. You can proliferate, they say, in more microbes in 24 hours than there are grains of sand or people on the planet or something. I'm losing that, but it's an astronomical number. That's why I probably am having trouble bringing that back, it's because it's a really, really crazy number of microbes. We have 150 trillion different species, like 150 trillion cells in our body. A large percentage of that, what is the percentage of that is foreign? It's really high. I think it's 2/3 or 80%, something like that, is 85% is all other bacterias and funguses and microbes that are not human. So we are literally an ecosystem in ourselves. One apple, even on the inside of it, they're doing studies on all these different fruits. They're finding that the microbes that we thought were other places aren't actually there. They're actually like right in the center of it. They're all over the place. They're all through it. It's just we haven't detected it with, we haven't done the research to be able to detect all these things yet. So we're still figuring things out. But if you want to keep it stupid simple, then you just stay with what God intended you to eat. Stay with round fruits, vegetables, round stuff. Round, like the world, like ourselves. If you want to get right deep into this, if God created us in His own image, and you look at us on a cellular level, how we started from a first cell in the mitosis period, it takes 24 hours to create one cell. The world was created. We were created in 7 days. Okay? Every 24 hours, one cell divides, 2 daughter cells. Look at mitosis. Okay, so if we were created in God's image, wouldn't God be a cell? And what would that mean? That God is the intelligent part of in other words, the nucleus of the cell? We were created in His image. So if you take that a little farther, the whole theme of as within, so without, and God is all around us, God is a part of everything, God is a part... Well, just think about it. That makes sense to me. Cells. God is every cell there ever was or is going to be. Is, was, is to be. Omnipotent. Yeah. I don't know. That's I don't know, it just fits to me. Okay? And it also fits when you start to think about how you become God-like. Like, I don't want to go too far with that. You start saying that you're God-like or you're, that's some touchy territory. You just don't want to say things like that, But you look at it as each cell is coming into your body. Each cell is coming in your body, the cells that you consume and the foods that you eat. Your body's using its own genetic code, its own DNA, which is an acid, breaking these proteins and all these other acids down. And I'll tell you this, you want to stay mindful, you want to stay cognitive, you want to have all your cognitive functions operating smoothly, keep the mind alkaline, right? If you think of us like a battery, for instance, alkaline batteries, lots of energy, right? Negative and positive poles, right? When we breathe in, when we breathe out, positive and negative. What happens when you have a positive and negative charge? We're batteries, man. We're electric beings. What is electricity? Stay alkaline. Stay with the mind. It's a beautiful thing when you think about it. All you have to do to be happy is stay connected. All you have to do to feel like you're not lost in life is stay connected. Stay connected with the people around you and try and enjoy good food. Enjoy what God gave us. God didn't give us cell phones. God didn't give us Wi-Fi. God gave us whole foods. Holistic or holistic. This is a holy science. You stay with what God intended, and you might actually stay connected with God Himself. You might actually hear that voice permeated through those cells. And you know what that voice usually says to me? It says, heal. It says, heal. Always. It's always the message from plants. Talk to any shaman. That's the permeating message of the world right now. Mother Earth needs a heal. We're messing up all this soil. We're messing up everything. We're destroying the genetic information. Stay connected, stay healthy, stay happy. I'm going to end this here. I think I've said enough. I think I got some of my thoughts out that I need to get out and express. Yeah. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Also, big tip here, cold exposure. It's funny, whenever I have a really big epiphany, there's always a 33 involved. If you noticed right there, when I just got that one, it was 22:33 on the camera. That's a recurring theme for me. 33 vertebrae, 33 spirals in our DNA. 33 is supposed to be in Hermeticism. It's a master number. It's the number of a master teacher. Sort of makes sense when you go into 30 or 33 parallels and all this sort of stuff, but it's a cool number. It really is. It helps me find meaning. It also means guidance too. I try and find meaning in everything like that, and I think that's another way that you can not feel so lost. If you find meaning in things, you find meaning in anything, whatever that means to you, that's for you. It's yours, right? It's your source of strength. You can find meaning. Like for instance, I was born 7.7. Look into numerology, it's a godly number. It means a whole bunch of things. But my son was also born 7.7. And it goes a lot deeper than that. And I'll probably go into this in another video about my story, about my path and my past. It wasn't always like this. You know, I was looking at life in jail at one time, and I was lost in heroin and opiates, and I was an IV drug user. I'm lucky to be alive. I'm grateful every day I wake up in the morning. But if I don't stay grounded, I can get lost. And if I don't try and find meaning, then what does anything ever mean? point? What's the point to anything if nothing means anything to you? You can't feel it right there. If you can't feel it in your solar plexus, solar, sun, son of God. I've made videos on this, the whole theme. It's pretty cool how you can, it's almost like poetry. It's a dance of poetry with yourself. Finding all these different meanings to things. And you look to numbers, like, for instance, the number 323 has been a recurring number for me. It means a lot of things for me. So we got the number 33 in there. Every time I look at the clock for like years, it was 323. I didn't understand why. How I find meaning in that is you have the 33, the number 33. You got 33 years of Christ. I was 33 when I had my daughter, my firstborn child. 33 spirals in your DNA, in your sequence of DNA. And then you look at Jacob's ladder, which is the spine, and you look at activation of the pineal gland, and we can get into the whole story of the Bible where, Mary and Joseph, the spiritual immaculate conception. So there's two worlds. For no one comes to the Father except me. And talk about there's the kingdom in the Bible. There's a theme that the kingdom is already here within inside each and every one of us. So 323, that inner world, 3 and 2. If you take the 2, you have 1 and 1. So I have my foot in both worlds, and I'm bringing this knowledge from both worlds together. That's where heaven is, right? Heaven, head, heel, hell. I'll find meaning in anything. It's kept me alive. It's kept me from being lost. I would be dead right now if not for my connection to this and the drive for the need to know, why do people get cancer? Why do people get autism? Why? It's cellular dysfunction. It's because somehow, some way, whether it's generationally, all of this junk DNA, I'm not using the right terminology, but the parts of your DNA you have generational trauma ingrained within the code of your DNA also. And that can be passed down too. So it all exists on a cellular level. That's why I do cellular workouts. Hot, cold, contrast showers. That's a cell workout right there. Your cells are literally vibrating at all times. Every cell in our body is. Every cell in our body has an electric charge. Every cell in our body, if you add it up, you have the amount of electricity or energy from an atomic bomb. This is the math. This is what they say. I don't know any of that. I'm just going on what I've heard. But it sort of makes sense if you go back to what I was saying about the positive and the negative and the alkaline battery. Every cell, also your cells have micro waste. And if you're not cleaning that, like if you're taking in too much waste, like in general, when you're consuming these, all of these things, your cells need to expel their waste as they go, and that all goes through your lymphatic system. It's a natural process, and it's easy. But as soon as you start adding or taking away, those processes don't happen. and you get buildups and you get calcifications in the zones in your body. Like, for instance, the Chinese have this big thing about movement and acupressure and acupressure and pressure points. And the reason they're doing that is because it's clearing those pathways, because you get slight calcification in those areas, much like a battery that attracts calcium particles right out of the air. On a battery, how the leads where the battery connects, they get that white film. Well, that's mostly calcium that's calcifying out. So the same thing happens in our body. And if we're electrical beings and we're like batteries, then you get calcification in all those different connection points, right? So where all those connection points are, that's your pressure points. That's your acupressure, right? So applying the pressure helps to clear away some of that calcium and clean it out a little bit and detach it so that it can be flushed out through your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is 3 times bigger than your cardiovascular system. It takes a lot of enzymes to run that, and it's easy to upset the balance so that you're not pumping through properly. And calcium, overconsumption of calcium is obviously a big no-no. And it's hard, especially for people with cheese addictions. Especially as an ex-opiate addict. I love cheese, man. I always did love cheese, but I didn't know why. Lactomorphine. Wow. Yeah, there's morphine in cheese. No wonder it's so addictive. It's much like the stuff, it's concentrating the hormones that, the natural hormones like in breast milk. It's the same thing. That's why your baby is essentially addicted to your mom's breast milk. And that's how you provide comfort. There's comfort, there's oxytocin, and there's all these other hormones that and if you talk about microbes, holy crap. And microbes and natural antibiotics. That's all in the milk already. Everything is provided. Anyway, so when you're eating cheese, if you assimilate that here I'm getting a little bit. If you assimilate that to a cow, you're concentrating all of the breast milk, right? The milk, which is same thing, right? It's like a breast of a cow, right? An udder. So you're concentrating that. You end up with anyway. So yeah, long story short, it's lactomorphine, man. Some crazy shit. No wonder I'm addicted to cheese. But it's, you have heart attacks. All that builds up in your arteries too. Like your blood's pumping that around, and you get calcification in this just from electricity and yeah, I'm getting a little bit scatterbrained here, so I should probably stop talking, and it's almost like my headache's coming back. I might have to jump back in there for a minute, but stay connected, grow your own food, you'll be all right. Love and bless.